So I'm joined now by Kate Beecroft, MHK. Nothing much, I was going to say department-wise still.
No, nothing.
Ecclesiastical, I can't say the word, but that one thing that's outstanding, you got that?
I'm on the Ecclesiastical Committee. There you go, that's the word.
Okay, well, we've got lots to talk about, I'm sure. I look back at our last interview for year 2, and you how do you describe it? A pretty torrid time, wasn't it, with all the business being the minister, not being the minister, and the flowers. I'm not going over the grand, but has this year been better?
Yeah, I mean, this year's been interesting.
No.
Have you ever known me to be that
calm?
I've always got something on the go, you know that.
Well, last time we talked about the Media Development Fund a lot. I mean, should we do that then? Because it's still ongoing, really.
Absolutely.
But you were asking a lot. You were pushing for an inquiry, which
which I got, thank goodness. Yes, about time.
Were you surprised? Well, there you go. Were you surprised you got that far?
I was very pleased. I'm always the optimist, so I go into these things always thinking, yes, I'm going to get some, and it worked this time. So I was really pleased about that. So I've given, about a year ago, just over a year ago, I gave the committee written evidence, which was 50 A4 lever arch files. So I think they had their work cut out going through that.
Is this from whistleblowers you're getting your information from? I mean, where do you get your sources, or you can't discuss it? Or I mean, I haven't been able to read all your stuff. So what do you tell us?
Well, a lot of the stuff, it's in the public domain.
You
get stuff from Pinewood's accounts. You get stuff from the films itself. When you look up the films themselves, which are all online, you get the cast and everything. But yeah, I have someone in the UK who will certainly help me. He's been my mentor on quite a number of things, and I'm eternally grateful to him. Because he certainly gave me an understanding of the industry that I didn't have.
And we, as a public, most people didn't understand what had happened. 26 million, I think, is what you're on about. It's gone.
Yeah.
But no one's... Is that, and this is the report is trying to find out where it's gone?
Possibly more, because there's still a monetary value to the films that are on the slate, as they call it, the list of films that we have, that hopefully some money will dribble back in from them. But there could well be more money to be written off from those.
Is it interesting about timing? Because now suddenly Netflix has come along, they're taking Shepperton and all these studios now, they're wanting more and more space. Was it just maybe a thing that we were in the wrong time? Or are you more concerned that just there's no public accountability on how this money was being spent?
It was the public accountability. I know the committee raised the question, sort of had it all gone wonderfully and we'd made a lot of money, we'd be in a different situation and nobody would be criticising. But if you recall, the questions that I've been asking went back long before anybody knew whether there were going to be any losses made or not. So it's the principle of it. You know, how did 50 million to start with get passed from Treasury to a private company, a 2006 company, so they didn't even have to file accounts anywhere? How did that money get passed to them in the first place without any tin wall debate? I mean, Treasury, they signed their own FD8 waiver, if you recall, so that they didn't have to go out to tender. Alan Bell obviously was Treasury Minister at the time, so he must have signed
that. That far back, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, right back.
Well, an ongoing story. But on the basis that, do you think before this says year 4, you'll have your answers you want?
Oh, I'm hopeful. But as I said, I'm always hopeful.
We'll never see the money back, though, right? I mean, this is just purely who's to blame game, isn't it?
It's not a question of who's to blame game. It's what went wrong. Why was it allowed to happen? Tighten up your procedures so it doesn't happen again. And if anything untoward did happen, then I would say there is a possibility of getting some of the money back.
From
whoever. From whoever.
The trouble is we can't really go into names and things because it's all still being reported. I think.
Yeah, and some of it's guesswork because, of course, the committee can get all the documents that they need from Treasury and check them all and get all the accounts and everything else that they require. I can't get those.
You got faith in the committee?
Yeah. I have faith in everybody till they prove me wrong.
So
let's hope they won't prove me wrong. You're tempting me
down an angle I don't want to go on. Okay, what else has happened in the last 12 months for you, as a MHK? What's been going on for Kate Beecroft? How are you? Because you've not been best of health, have you? Getting up the stairs it's still quite tricky, I know, but seriously, are you okay?
That's just waiting for a hip replacement.
Still waiting for it?
Oh, that's my fault. I sort of put it off. I was a bit too busy. So that'll happen next year, and then I'll find your stairs easier to get up to come and talk to you.
But seriously, how are you doing?
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, thank you.
Good.
But thanks for asking.
And confidence-wise in Lib Van over the last year, I mean, you're looking for more members. Michael Joseph's now your chairman.
Yes. He's sort of very forward-thinking. He's got some very good ideas, very good at communications and stuff, which I used to do before I got elected. If you recall, I used to do all the press releases and this, that and the other. But once you're an MHK, to be honest, you really don't have the time for that. Or I find I don't. I just get swamped in stuff. Maybe I take too much on.
Well, that's what I'm asking about. How do you deal with everything? I mean, you are the backbench. Well, no, not the only one, but overall, you're asking a fair few questions, ruffling some feathers, which goes with the territory of being a backbencher.
That's your job when you're a backbencher. You hold government to account.
And are you holding them to account then?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. They probably don't still like me, so maybe I'm doing a good job. I don't know.
Any potential to go into any government? Have you been asked at all? Well, especially there's nothing moving a minute, but if there's a reshuffle, would you be up for it?
No, thank you.
Okay. How do you balance that? And we'll come to numbers at the end of the interview, but how's Mr. Quayle's administration doing at the moment in the last 12 months, let's say? Are you okay with it? Worried?
Okay with it to a point. There seems to be a lot of spin and a lot of things being delayed, and I worry that they're going to get through what they said they would get through before the next elections, because you know yourself, once you get into election year, politicians typically do not want to take difficult decisions.
We're at the countdown now, aren't we, really, for some?
We are, yeah. It started already, but that will build. That will build as election day gets nearer. So I am concerned that some of the stuff hasn't progressed as much as it should have done. They've given the reasons for Brexit as being Brexit. I'm not sure how much of that is true, given that we've got no say in it. We can only lobby and say, remember we're here and how it will affect us. Regardless of the fact that I did try to get us a bit more of a voice, but the Chief Minister didn't seem to want to take any notice of what the House of Commons Justice Committee have said twice, which is that where our interests are different to those in the UK, we should have separate representation. Now, the government at the time, when as I say, it was the House of Commons Justice Committee report, which was 2010 and again repeated in 2014, I think it was from the top of my head. They've said that we should have separate representation. Now, I know we're not in the EU, so we can't have a seat round the table, but I do think we should have had separate representation there. Somebody as a voice for us, not just the Chief Minister going over and talking to other politicians and other players, if you like. We should have had a separate voice.
And as we record this in Brexit, it's still, it's up in the air. Everything's
it
up in
is,
the air,
but I think it's important that we should have somebody fighting our corner on those sort of things, rather than just going over and say, remember who we are and how it's going to affect us. Right. We should have been able to be a bit more vocal, I believe.
All right. Before I move you on to next coming up, anything else from the last 12 months you want to highlight that you're happy, proud, satisfied with? What was that looking like? You can't think of anything. It's okay.
No, I didn't prepare for this any more than you did.
I'm just asking. I'm not asking questions. You're going to answer them. Okay, but let's deal with that. That's done. That's it.